They dominated the world's biggest stages, won Grand Slams, made millions, had fame most people only dream about, and then they retired. But instead of staying in the spotlight like most champions, instead of becoming commentators, coaches, or brand ambassadors, they chose something different. They vanished. No commentary gigs, no coaching careers, no social media presence, just gone. These are 5 tennis legends who walked away from everything, and one of them has a story so strange, it deserves its own video. But before we get to that mystery, let's talk about the 5 champions who proved something, that you can win everything and still choose to walk away from the noise. Starting with number 5. Number 5, Björn Borg. If you don't know the name, here's what you need to know. 11 Grand Slam titles, 5 consecutive Wimbledons, dominated the late 70s and early 80s. At 26 years old, he was still number 1. And then he just quit. January 1983. No warning, no farewell match. He told reporters he was burnt out and walked away. But here's where it gets messy. After retiring, Borg tried launching a fashion brand. It failed spectacularly. He went through a painful divorce. His business ventures collapsed, and in 1989, things hit rock bottom. He was hospitalized during what he later called the darkest period of my life. The media went crazy with speculation. Borg never addressed it directly. He just withdrew even more. He attempted a tennis comeback in 1991. The comeback attempt was brutal to watch. He used his old wooden racket while everyone else had moved to modern equipment. It was like watching someone try to compete in a different era entirely. He lost 6-2, 6-3 in the first round. That was it. No second attempt, no gradual fade, just done. Today, he shows up at Wimbledon occasionally, gives brief interviews, and lives quietly in Sweden. For a guy who was once the biggest name in tennis, he became almost invisible. Borg's story set the template. When you build your entire identity around winning, retirement doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like losing yourself. And that pattern shows up again and again in this list. Number 4, Justine Henin. 7 Grand Slam titles. Number 1 in the world for 117 weeks. One of the fiercest competitors the women's game has ever seen. In 2008, at just 25 years old, right at her peak, she announced her retirement mid-season. No injuries, no scandal, just, "I'm done." She cited personal reasons and exhaustion, but the timing shocked everyone. She attempted a comeback in 2010, made it to the Australian Open final, then injured her elbow and retired for good. Since then, basically disappeared. She occasionally coaches young players in Belgium, runs a tennis academy, but compared to other legends who stay in the spotlight, Henin went silent. No TV commentary, no major sponsorships, just a quiet life away from cameras. For someone who was once everywhere, she's now nowhere. Number 3, Martina Hingis. 5 Grand Slam singles titles, became world number 1 at just 16 years old, youngest Grand Slam champion of the Open era. She was supposed to dominate for decades. Instead, injuries forced her to retire in 2003 at age 22. Then she came back in 2006, got suspended for cocaine use in 2007. She denied it, but retired again. Then she came back again in 2013, this time focusing on doubles, won 13 more Grand Slam titles in doubles and mixed doubles, finally retired for good in 2017. But here's the thing, after all those comebacks and controversies, she just disappeared. No major media presence. Occasionally coaches, runs a horse breeding business in Switzerland. For someone who was tennis royalty as a teenager, Hingis became a ghost. Number 2, Kim Clijsters, 4 Grand Slam titles. World number 1, US Open champion 3 times. In 2007, at 23 years old, she retired to start a family. Most people thought, okay, that's it. But in 2009, she made one of the greatest comebacks in tennis history. As a mum, unranked, she won the US Open in her 3rd tournament back, became the first mother to win a Grand Slam since 1980. She dominated for a few more years, then retired again in 2012. But then she came back again in 2020. At 36 years old, played a few tournaments. Then the pandemic hit. She retired for good in 2022. And now, total silence. No commentary, no coaching, just living in Belgium with her family. After 3 retirements and 2 epic comebacks, she finally disappeared for real. So we've seen 4 legends who disappeared. Some struggled, some found peace, some came back and left again. But there's one story that's different, because this champion didn't just walk away. He erased himself completely. And number 1, well, I'm not going to fully reveal it here, because this legend's story is so strange, so complete, and so mysterious. It deserves its own video. Here's what I'll tell you. 14 Grand Slam titles, 6 straight years as world number 1, dominated the 90s like nobody else. At 31 years old, he won the US Open, collapsed to his knees crying, walked off the court, and never played another professional match. No farewell tour, no announcement for a year. He just vanished. This champion didn't just disappear from tennis, he disappeared from everything. While Federer built a global brand, while Agassi became a media personality, while other legends stayed relevant, this guy went completely silent. He has a verified Twitter account, created in 2009. He's never posted, not once. He turned down millions in endorsements, refused almost every interview request, and lives like his entire career never happened. The craziest part, he didn't leave because he was washed up. He left after his greatest victory. That full story drops January the 2nd. It's about more than just tennis. It's about what happens when winning stops being enough. And it's one of the most fascinating athlete stories you've never fully heard. These 5 legends proved something important. You don't have to stay in the spotlight to have been great. Sometimes the most powerful move is walking away on your own terms. But here's what most people don't realize. Walking away isn't the same as giving up. These athletes chose silence. They chose privacy. They chose life over legacy maintenance. And in a world obsessed with attention, that might be the most radical thing a champion can do. But there's one story that takes this to another level. January the 2nd. The full story of the champion who vanished. See you then.